Are for all. And that's really, Leslie, I think more than Leslie versus Denver or Tim versus Corey, that's really what's at stake next Tuesday. Are we still for all? Because we've seen just in the last months the tragic consequences of a politics that's not about for all. You saw it in Charlottesville in August of 2017, the politics of division. I stood on the front steps of the Fairfax Jewish Community Center 3 weeks ago, defaced with 19 swastikas painted across the front, 18 months after they had been defaced with other anti-Semitic slogans. I stood at a dais in a synagogue in Roanoke Tuesday night in a solidarity service, and they talked about the two Roanoke synagogues being defaced with anti-Semitic posters. 2 Mondays ago, a guy got a pipe bomb in the mail, George Soros. There are plenty of philanthropists who give plenty of money to politics. George Soros is being uniquely demonized over and over and over again by the other side. Why George Soros? Well, why not some of the other, people who are giving money? Why is it George Soros? It's because he's Jewish and he's an immigrant. It's straight, flat-out anti-Semitism that has led people to target him. Get this, we had to pull down a government-funded radio program the other day, funded with our tax dollars, Radio Marti, that broadcasts into Cuba, that was running a scurrilous story about George Soros, calling him an immigrant Jew, as if that had anything to do with anything. That's being done with our tax dollars. He got that pipe bomb after incendiary rhetoric against him, and then other friends of mine and people we admire, friends of ours, got pipe bombs. In the middle of last week, somebody went to an African-American church in Kentucky, tried to break into the church to kill African-Americans. When the door was locked, he went to a Kroger nearby. He killed 2 African-American senior citizens. One was a woman who had spent her entire career working at the Veterans Administration, helping American veterans. One was a grandfather who was shopping with holding hands with his grandson, who had to see his grandfather gunned down. When a white guy tried to intervene and stop the shooting, the shooter said to him, "Hey, look, my problem's not with you. Whites don't kill whites. I'm here to kill other people." And then on Saturday, a guy breaking into the Tree of Life, not breaking in, walking in, it was a house of worship, into the Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh, driven by hate toward Jews, driven by hatred because Jewish civic organizations were doing what Jewish civic organizations do, helping migrants and refugees. And he was so perverted by hateful rhetoric preached out about Jewish people and about the spiritual command of helping the stranger in a strange land that he walked in and killed 11 people because of their religion, and wounded others, including brave, dedicated first responders from Pittsburgh who came and tried to save people. I mean, when these things happen, I think some of us are like, is this a nightmare? This is not the for-all nation that we make a pledge to every time we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Just yesterday, the president said that he wants to rewrite the Constitution. Now, set aside the fact that I lived in a military dictatorship where the rulers could change the rules at the drop of a hat. When I was in Honduras in 1981, that was the kind of country that it was. That's not our country. President can't do it. But isn't it interesting that out of every clause in the Constitution, the one that this president has announced he wants to change by executive fiat is the definition of citizenship in the 14th Amendment. That definition was purchased by the blood of slaves and everybody who died in the Civil War. The reason that they had to put that definition in the 14th Amendment was because of the Dred Scott decision. The Dred Scott decision, 1857, the Supreme Court said an African American, even an African American born free, even an African American 4 or 5 generations free, could never be a citizen of the United States. And that led to the Civil War, along with other things. And when the Civil War is over, Congress decided, Republican members of Congress decided that they needed to add a definition of citizenship to wipe out that stain on our nation, to say that if you are here, born here, it doesn't matter what your national origin is. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. If you are born here, you are a United States citizen. That was purchased by the blood of millions of people. And that this president would pick that one clause of the Constitution and say that should be rewritten. We should go back to the Dred Scott days. That tells you everything you need to know about this person and about the challenges of the moment. You know, here's the